Welcome to Intima Wellness Lab, your safe space for intimacy and wellness, where we bridge the science of the body with the art of self-understanding. Today we're diving into a topic that's both misunderstood and underdiscussed, a subject wrapped in mystery, judgment, and cultural myths, yet central to every woman's sense of vitality, confidence, and connection. I want to begin this conversation by saying something you may never have heard before. If you've ever wondered, what's wrong with me? Because your desire feels low, inconsistent, or missing, or there's nothing wrong with you. Your libido is not broken. It's not something to fix or force. It's a language, your body's way of communicating how nourished, connected, and safe it feels. The silence around desire. Think back to your teenage years or early adulthood. How many open, judgment-free conversations did you ever have about desire? Not just about preventing pregnancy or avoiding STIs, but about the feeling of desire itself. Chances are, very few. For most women, sexual education is mechanical, focused on risk, not relationship. We're taught how to protect ourselves, but rarely how to understand ourselves. And because of that silence, millions of women grow up disconnected from one of the most powerful biological and emotional forces inside them, libido. In clinics, I've heard countless women say, "I just don't feel like myself anymore. My relationship is fine, but my desire isn't there. I used to feel sensual, confident, alive. Now I just feel numb." These words break my heart, not because they reveal something broken, but because they reveal how society has failed to teach women what's normal. The myth of the normal libido. For years, we've compared female libido to a male pattern of desire, spontaneous, predictable, and always ready. But that model doesn't reflect how most women's desire truly works. Science tells us that female desire is contextual, fluid, and responsive. It changes with stress, relationships, hormones, body image, and even sleep. It's not linear, it's cyclical, like the moon, like the menstrual cycle itself. And yet women are made to feel guilty when their libido ebbs. They are told to just try harder, light some candles, or fix it, when in reality the body is just doing what it was designed to do. Respond. The science no one talks about. As a nurse, I've learned that desire is one of the most complex and beautiful biological processes because it doesn't live in one organ. It's in your brain, your heart, your nervous system, your hormones, and your emotions. When a woman feels safe, rested, connected, and confident, the brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, and nitric oxide. These chemicals open blood vessels, increase sensitivity, and create a sense of anticipation and pleasure. But when she's anxious, stressed, or emotionally drained, cortisol levels rise. That cortisol dampens oxytocin and serotonin, making it nearly impossible for arousal to flow naturally. So it's not that women lose interest, their bodies are literally protecting them. The nervous system says, "We're not safe enough for pleasure right now." That's not dysfunction, that's intelligence. Your body is wise. Desire as a vital sign. I often tell my patients libido is not just about sex, it's a vital sign. Just like your pulse, temperature, or blood pressure, it reflects your body's internal balance. When libido drops, it may be your body's whisper that something deeper needs attention. Maybe burnout, hormonal shifts, emotional exhaustion, or even nutrient deficiencies. It's one of the first indicators that your nervous system and hormonal system are out of sync. So instead of ignoring that whisper or blaming yourself, the invitation is to listen. What is your body asking for? Section 1. The Science of Female Desire, What's Really Happening Inside the Brain. When most people think about libido, they think about hormones, attraction, or romance. But here's something few realize, and desire doesn't start in the body. It starts in the brain. In fact, sexual desire is a neurochemical symphony, a conversation between your mind, your hormones, and your environment. Scientists call this the dual control model of sexual response, for it's the most accurate model we have for understanding how female desire actually works, and it's far more nuanced than simply wanting or not wanting. Here's how it works. Inside your brain, there are two main systems controlling sexual response. The accelerator, which notices sexually relevant stimuli like closeness, affection, or fantasy, and the brake, which detects potential threats, stress, or distractions. Think of them as two pedals in a car. When the accelerator is pressed, desire begins to rise. But if the brake is even lightly engaged, from fatigue, stress, conflict, or body insecurity, the entire system slows down or stops. This means that many women don't have a low libido problem. They have an overactive brake, a brain that's too vigilant, too overwhelmed to allow arousal to unfold. This understanding comes from over 2 decades of research by Dr. Eric Jansen and Dr. John Bancroft at the Kinsey Institute. Their work revealed that female desire isn't just about how much stimulation you have, but how safe and relaxed your brain feels to receive that stimulation. When you're relaxed, the brain releases dopamine, the chemical of anticipation and reward. When you're stressed, cortisol floods your system, suppressing dopamine and oxytocin, 2 key players in desire and bonding. The brain regions of desire. Let's look deeper inside the brain itself. Desire activates a fascinating network, including the hypothalamus, amygdala, nucleus accumbens, and prefrontal cortex. The hypothalamus controls hormone release, and think estrogen and testosterone. The amygdala processes emotional meaning. Is this safe, exciting, stressful? The nucleus accumbens registers pleasure and motivation. And the prefrontal cortex decides whether to act on desire or suppress it. These brain regions talk to each other constantly, creating an internal dialogue of readiness, comfort, and safety. When they're in sync, desire feels effortless. When they're out of sync, because of stress, trauma, or fatigue, desire can feel distant. That's why desire isn't just physical, it's emotional, cognitive, and social. It depends on how your brain interprets your surroundings, your relationship, your body image, and even your self-worth. Neuroscientists have found that the same parts of the brain that light up during sexual arousal also activate during deep emotional connection and creativity. That means intimacy and inspiration are biologically intertwined. Both rely on the same reward system. The role of hormones. Now let's talk about hormones, the invisible messengers shaping desire behind the scenes. 2 main hormones drive libido in women: estrogen and testosterone. Estrogen enhances vaginal lubrication, sensitivity, and blood flow. Testosterone fuels sexual motivation and fantasy. Yes, women produce testosterone too, though in smaller amounts. Throughout your menstrual cycle, these hormones rise and fall. During ovulation, around the middle of the cycle, estrogen peaks, testosterone spikes, and many women naturally feel more confident, playful, and sensual. But as the cycle moves toward the luteal phase, progesterone increases, bringing calmness but also sometimes fatigue or mood dips. This hormonal rhythm explains why libido fluctuates naturally. It's not random, it's rhythmic. A 2017 study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine confirmed that women report the highest sexual interest during mid-cycle, correlating with peak estrogen and testosterone. This is evolution's way of aligning reproduction with arousal, but it also shows that hormones are not everything. Because even during the most hormonally favorable days, if stress, resentment, or exhaustion are high, desire can vanish. That's why understanding the brain-hormone connection is so crucial. Section 2. Emotions stress the invisible weight on desire. It's not that you don't want intimacy. It's that your body and mind are speaking 2 different languages. Modern life demands so much, from women especially. You're expected to be productive, calm, available, nurturing, confident, independent, and somehow still in the mood. But here's the truth. Emotional overload is the silent saboteur of desire. The emotional weight women carry. Studies show that nearly 1 in 2 women report a decline in sexual desire due to emotional stress, anxiety, or fatigue, not because of lack of attraction, but lack of mental space. Unlike men, whose sexual arousal pathways can often activate more directly, women's desire is deeply connected to context and emotional equilibrium. When your brain is weighed down by unfinished tasks, arguments, work pressure, or emotional distance, it doesn't just affect your mood. It literally redirects blood flow and neurochemistry away from arousal centers. That's why, for many women, desire doesn't disappear. It's simply overridden by survival mode. Because the human body can't pursue pleasure and protection at the same time. This is biology, not personality. When cortisol levels rise, the body interprets that as a signal. Now is not the time for reproduction or intimacy. Your heart rate increases, digestion slows, and reproductive hormones are deprioritized. That's nature saying we need to survive first. Emotional clutter, the modern desire killer. The modern woman lives in what psychologists now call cognitive load, a mental juggling act of invisible responsibilities. It's not just about doing things. It's about thinking about doing things, remembering, anticipating, planning, fixing, feeling responsible for everyone's comfort and happiness. This invisible mental weight is exhausting, and it doesn't switch off just because the lights go out. When emotional energy is depleted, there's little left for erotic energy. That's why foreplay doesn't start in the bedroom, it starts in the brain. When your mind feels seen, when your emotions feel supported, your nervous system relaxes. That's when desire begins to reawaken. Stress, the libido suppressor. Stress is one of the most well-documented libido killers, but not just in an obvious way. Chronic stress triggers the HPA axis, the communication loop between your brain, hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and adrenal glands. When this loop stays overactive, it suppresses the release of reproductive hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. In simple terms, the more stressed you are, the less your body prioritizes sexual function. And here's something most women don't realize. It doesn't take extreme stress to have this effect. Even low-level, constant anxiety, deadlines, phone notifications, body comparison, relationship tension can keep your body in a quiet state of alert that shuts down arousal cues. When I work with women who say, "I just don't feel anything anymore," one of the first things I ask isn't about hormones or partners. It's about stress patterns. Are you sleeping? Are you resting? Are you ever still? Often the answer is no. And that's where we start healing desire, not from the outside, but from the inside out. Emotional connection and the limbic brain. The limbic system, your emotional brain, plays a vital role in desire. It's the part that links memory, mood, and motivation. When you feel emotionally connected to someone, your limbic system lights up, releasing oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Your libido is not a mystery, it's a message. It tells you how connected, nourished, and balanced you are. If this message helped you understand your body a little more deeply, give it a thumbs up and share it with a woman who needs to hear it today. I'm your nurse from Intima Wellness Lab. Subscribe for more evidence-based conversations about intimacy, hormones, and holistic health. Because true wellness begins when you feel safe in your own body.